Yeah, I'm already here.
Introduction. Dr. Prashant Sindhe is the Commercial Director for Dairy Feed Nutrition, Organ Animal Nutrition Health. He is a distinguished leader in India's livestock and dairy sector with 25 years experience. And he is PhD in animal nutrition from ICAR-NIANP. He has more than 50 research papers. And he is involved, he has contributed a lot in development of livestock sector through his expertise in NAVNAW. And today he is going to share with us his insights, valuable insights in calf nutrition, which is very important for the future of cow. Thank you. Dr. Shinde, you can start with
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for the introduction. So, respected chairman, co-chairman, reporters, distinguished dignitaries, a lot of fellow colleagues, seniors whom I've met in after almost a couple of decades, fellow veterinarians, and all juniors. So today it's like I really like to thank Dr. Rajendran, I'm not seeing him, for really calling us and giving this opportunity for me to talk on the topic which I'm really passionate about. Okay, so what I want to really tell here is just one part of dairy management. So ideally, if you talk about dairy management, we say it's like 4 pillars, okay, 4 foundations. One is breeding, feeding, that includes feed fodder. The other is management, that's cow comfort. And the 4th one is sanitation. But if you go to the farmer, the most talked about point is, can you guess which is the most talked about point? It's breeding. If you come to the So if you come to the nutritionist specialty or if you come to the faculty industry, the most talked about topic is nutrition. Okay, but in reality, as per my experience, the farmer needs to focus most on what is management. Okay, so I'll start with that, and I'll give an interesting concept. So as Dr. Jadhav has really concluded a good topic, that's transition management. So luckily we are working very aggressively on the ground in Punjab. So we have a data of close to 150 farms, roughly 50 cow herd size. What we found is the lactation yields in Punjab average is 6,500 liters. Okay, best farms can go up to 10,000 liters lactation yield, and poor can come up to, say, in Punjab, 5,000 liters. So that's Punjab. Punjab is not considered as in India if you consider dairy farming. Okay, but to start to that, like our global standards, so there is a concept called as herd lifetime productivity that says how much time a cow stays on the herd. Okay, that's on the farm. So what we have seen is, like the global average, in Punjab also, farmers are not keeping their cows on the farm for more than 2.5 lactations. So is it by default or is it by practice? So when we deep dive more, we came to know that it's because of cows having a lot of health issues, maybe mastitis, reproduction issues. Then there would be, many other health related issues. So then we again deep dive and found out what might be the reason. So again, transition management is one of the most critical aspect. And second, what we found out is heat stress. So unless we take care of heat stress, nothing will work. So that's why our focus is more. And another important point we found out is, since the lactation yields are going up, the mature body weights, at what body weights we do insemination of our heifers. So that's very critical. So I'll cover that. So today's topic, so in general, I speak on 5 topics, and I'm really passionate about those. That's calf and heifer management, surely transition management. The third is cow comfort. 4th one is forage management, because unless we improve forage quality, no way we are increasing productivity. I hate cows, seeing cows or buffaloes eating just dry straw or wheat straw, and farmers or us expecting that they'll give milk. I hate that. And the last is record keeping. So unless we deep dive or look at the records, I don't know how are we going to make a decision without having a look at data. So data-based decision making can never happen unless we take care of the record. So today I'm just covering a small part of my topic, that's calf nutrition. So I consider 5 C's. So calf is the future of the herd. So 5 C's very critical in calf. Colostrum we'll cover a bit. Second is calories, that's the energy required for the calf. Third would be calf comfort. We have to keep them well. We say it's the best breed, and farmer tying that calf to the whatever pole he is having on the farm. That's not acceptable. That's cow comfort. Fourth is cleanliness. Okay, cleanliness. Do we really think about cleanliness? How clean the milk is? What is the somatic cell count? Are we cleaning the utensils used for feeding the calf? Are we cleaning the waterers? And fifth one is doing all this consistently. Believe me, it's not an easy job. So doing it again and again and again and expecting that your calves will grow better. So colostrum, so it's the first lactation secretion after calving, and then it's transition milk for day 2 and day 3. So I'll quickly go through. So we know colostrum is a good source of immunoglobulins, vitamins, minerals, and in general there is a lot of variability. So here I have presented HF data, and you can see variability in coming in total solids, in fat, protein, even in IgG. I have found similar results even if we compare buffalo data presented, research done in NDRI or other universities. They also shared similar variability happening in the colostrum of animals. And in general, third lactation animals produce high immunoglobulins, but interestingly, first lactation heifers somehow they secrete more milk into the colostrum. It's assuming the hypothesis is those udders are still developing starting to be milk. Okay. Again, if you see, from milking 1 to milking 5, so gradually the total solids goes on decreasing, pH remains same, protein goes on decreasing, fat goes on decreasing, lactose, interestingly, it increases, and your ash goes on decreasing. So in addition to IgGs, colostrum is also good source of a lot of other beneficial factors whose actual functions we are learning, but there is still more room to really learn more about, say, lactoferrins or IGF-1 or 2 like factors. So just take an example. So a cow having colostrum of 100 IgG in grams per liter, and a cow giving colostrum of say 27 grams IgG per gram, and the calf consumes 2 liters of that colostrum. Okay, what would be the intake? So just think about it, because I'm going to present 2 or 3 studies which really say how critical the intake of IgGs and the serum IgGs, how are they correlated for the overall well-being of the calf, calf's general health and lifetime productivity. Okay, so in the field we can really measure colostrum, IgGs in colostrum by using this Briggs refractometer. It's easily available. Most of the distillery guys to check the amount of alcohol content, they use this, and it's a very easy instrument which can be standardized and used on the field to really check colostrum levels in IgG levels in colostrum. So again, I'll skip this. Okay, so a study was conducted wherein three groups of neonatal calves. Okay, 3 groups of neonatal calves were fed milk from the bulk tank. They were fed transition milk. We'll see what's the IgG content of transition milk. And third is they were fed colostrum with close to say 70 grams of IgG per liter. So obviously at day 0, all had no IgGs, serum IgGs. Day 24 hours, colostrum fed group had higher IgGs, and obviously at 48 hours also it had higher, colostrum fed calves had higher IgGs. Okay, so interestingly, if you see the body weight gain was also much better in colostrum and transition fed calves, and the calves which were fed milk, they were degrowing. Okay, so this is really interesting. And see the incidences of diarrhea and mortality. Okay, so this itself is very clear indicator that why is colostrum feeding so important. Okay, so this is the slide which I really like to talk about. How much colostrum? Okay, 2 liters or 4 liters. Okay, I was in a group of farmers, almost 100 farmers in Punjab. So I asked the question, okay, all have calves? Yes, all have calves. How many of them weigh their calves at birth? Okay, taking weights of calves at birth. 50% of the farmers raised their hand. That's really significant. Then I asked a follow-up question, okay, how many of them feed colostrum in the first hour of their life? So almost those same hands stayed up. Then I asked the follow-up question, okay, how many of you really measure that colostrum? Okay, so out of that, only 1 or 2 farms were left. So there is a need to promote this, and the benefit is the average daily gain is higher in colostrum, calves fed colostrum at 4 liters a day. There is less expense on treatment, and again, milk production. It can go as high as 1,000 liters in over 2 lactations. Okay, so I'll skip this. So for Indian context, we really need to see what the practical application using this bricks refractometers. Can we really check on farm the colostrum IgGs happening at the farm level? Because I'm pretty sure in summer the IgGs would be really low. We have seen levels at 5 to 10 or even less than that. So there is a scope to really standardize it and really deploy it. And in addition, if we find colostrum having good quality of IgGs, that can also be really used to store, and maybe there can be a business model which can be developed to sell it back and other things. So quickly, I'll skip this study. Whole milk management. So this is the typical general feeding program which we recommend to dairy farmers. Day 0 to day 3 is colostrum. Starting day 4, there is a milk feeding program. It has to be a step up. Then up to 50 days, then it has to be step down. So each farm has the same their own management thing, but we generally recommend 4 to 6 liters of colostrum. So here, introducing forage at 50 days, calf starter from day 3. So important note I want to make here is NASEM, that's the NRC's latest version of 2021. What they say is calves should have an intake of 800 to 1000 grams of total solids. Okay, 800. Let's consider minimum 800 grams of total milk solids. Okay. Now, if you consider our cow milk with the 12% total solids, okay, that's 120 grams of total solids per liter. So imagine how many liters of milk has to be fed to those calves. I've not seen any farmer feeding more than 6 liters. Okay, so 12, 6, the 7 still we are short by close to 80 to 100 liters, 80 to 100 grams of milk solids. And okay, calf can cover it up by eating calf starter, but the digestibility of milk solids is more than 95%, whereas the digestibility of vegetable protein sources or starters will be like 65 to 70%. So the best benefit is feeding calves total solids coming from milk. Okay, so then there are best practices which have to be followed. Again, cleanliness. India, where we have a higher total microbial count of our milk, I can assume there would be 2 issues, mainly scours or diarrhea happening in calves. So how do we take care of them? By either ensuring you boil the milk, cool it down, which is not going to happen. Or so it's interesting. We boil at home, we boil a pasteurized milk, okay, and we waste a lot of energy, but we don't boil the milk that has to be given to calves. So that's something interesting dynamics that has to be flipped. Okay, coming to CMR, although there are some areas, larger farms which have started to use CMR, which is calf milk replacer, which is they can feed it from day 3 to weaning. So it's basically protein, fat, and a lot of lactose or carbohydrates if it's milk total solids based, or if there are a lot of ingredients, milk dried products can be added to it. I'll skip this. Okay, coming to the starter feed growers. So starter feed can be in pellet, mash, or a mixed form. Typically they add sometimes cracked corn or any cracked grain to really scurf up the rumen so that microflora, the rumen papillae can be developed. The interesting part is calf starters. Calves are very choosy. They really select feed. if any small fines are there, the intake goes down and they don't eat. So how do we ensure that the pellet is really not having any fine? And calves also have a habit of really breaking they need something to do. Okay, so let's ensure that the pellet of calf should be really of good quality. So then there are various factors. High fat has an impact, or the source of fat has an impact of intake. Then rapeseed meal is not a good source of protein ingredient liked by calves. High amounts of molasses, that's interesting, also is not liked by calves. So forget it. So again, interesting point I would like to make is globally nowhere, although 22 to 24% protein calf starters are popular, but there is no additional effect of feeding starters more than 20% of CP. Unfortunately, I sit on the BI's board, the committee that discuss these specifications, and we are fighting, should we have 24% or 23%? I said, guys, doesn't really matter. Even 20% can do a much better job, but you're really, you want 23 and 24. So it doesn't make sense. So we have to really review this. These are the additives. We'll skip on. Water, the cheapest ingredient, freely available. But there are so many practices in some places. I've heard calves not been fed water for maybe 2 months or 1 month. So that's not acceptable. Water needs to be given from day one. Okay, clean water, always available in front of calf. Hay or forages, dry forages are preferred. Feeding roughly 45 days or even later, it will help. So just a last point which I want to make here is, heifer programs. How do we analyze the heifer program is successful or not? A tip would be, a heifer should really produce in the first lactation should produce like 75 to 85% of peak milk compared to the third or fourth lactation cows. Now, one thing I asked the question to farmer, okay, what's the age at first calving? You go to any farm, he'll say 22 to 24 months. But then you look at the global picture, nowhere, Israel being a very highly, dairy, good practices country, so nowhere you find it. Okay, so the farmers are not telling the lies, they are telling the truth. But the fact is, their cows do not reach the mature body weight. So mature body weight is something cows in third lactation, in positive energy balance, what is the weight of those cows? That's the mature body weight of that farm. So typically, birth weight is 6.25% of mature body weight. At breeding, you should have 55 to 60% of that heifer weight, which is 55 to 60% of mature body weight. Unfortunately, out of Punjab, wherever I go, I see third lactation cows, crossbred, we say crossbred of good quality breeds, being at 400 kg. It's not acceptable. So we are not, how can we take out the potential of such good breeds? So this was the picture which we started calf rearing in those cages way back in 2006. These are some of the practices, what things not to do. Okay, see a calf being really kept in sun, without feed, without water. Same thing. The picture on the right is interesting. The calf's cage kept on a gutter. So I can't stand that. Why do you expect the calf to eat or feed there? So these are the practices which farmer unknowingly do. We have to correct them. And these are do you notice the difference between calves? The activeness, how they are presenting, how they are, seeing at the one who is taking pictures versus the steers. It's very evident. Okay, so last 1 minute. So concluding, take home message from my side would be focus on colostrum. Okay, at least minimum 2 kgs. Next would be to ensure that calves are kept in individual cages, not tied to a tree or something. So then it's like not calf management. Then third would be ensure that they are fed a sufficient amount of milk and starter, a good amount of starter. Introduce forage later in the life, close to 45 days or even push it up to 2 months. And last would be focus on the mature body weight during AI of those heifers. That's it. Thank you.